When President Donald Trump took to the podium at the United Nations General Assembly on Tuesday, it was a moment charged with his unmistakable skepticism towards the global organization. This sentiment has been a consistent theme throughout his presidency and remains unchanged even years later. In fact, during his initial term, he infamously labeled the United Nations as merely a social club for diplomats to enjoy themselves, a sentiment he appears to uphold even now. Upon returning to the White House, Trump has notably reduced U.S. backing for the United Nations. This includes the contentious decision to withdraw from the UN Human Rights Council and decrease funding for critical initiatives such as the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, which provides essential support to Palestinian refugees. Recent decisions from his administration have included a refusal to participate in a UN assessment of America's human rights practices, an action interpreted by many as an evasion of accountability. In his nearly hour-long address, Trump asserted that the United Nations is not even coming close to living up to its full potential. He further criticized the organization, lamenting that its actions often resort to mere written declarations that lack follow-through. Trump stated, "All they seem to do is write a really strongly worded letter and then never follow that letter up. It's empty words, and empty words don't solve war. The only thing that solves war, and wars, is action." However, Trump's speech was not without its contradictions. He promoted a message of peace while simultaneously threatening drug cartels with destruction. He expressed doubts about the United Nations' effectiveness, yet told UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres that the US is behind the United Nations 100%. This apparent dissonance raises questions about the underlying strategy of his foreign policy. Here are 7 pivotal moments that stood out during Trump's UN speech. A teleprompter glitch right at the start. Trump amusingly highlighted a technical malfunction, saying that the teleprompter was not functioning and joked that whoever was managing it would be in big trouble. He cheekily added that the UN would even have a bad escalator, emphasizing his disdain for the setup. Claiming to have ended 7 wars while criticizing the UN's effectiveness, campaigning for a Nobel Peace Prize, Trump declared himself a driving force behind resolving numerous global conflicts, boasting that he has ended 7 wars. However, a closer examination of these claims reveals that some of these conflicts aren't classified as wars or are still ongoing, casting doubt on his assertions, challenging nations supporting Palestinian statehood. Notably, Trump spoke against countries like Britain, Canada, and France that have recently recognized Palestinian statehood. He argued that such actions would only exacerbate conflict and unfairly reward Hamas, which was involved in the October 7th attack that sparked renewed violence in Gaza, calling on Europe to take strong action against Russia. In a direct challenge, Trump stated that if Russia continues its invasion of Ukraine, he is ready to impose severe tariffs. He urged European nations to take proactive measures, particularly by halting the import of Russian oil. Criticizing migration policies of other nations, Trump admonished other nations for their immigration practices, emphasizing his own mass deportation strategies as a preferable solution to what he termed the crisis of uncontrolled migration. His blunt words included, "I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell," dismissing climate change as a major con job. In a striking statement, Trump referred to climate change as one of the greatest con jobs ever perpetrated on the world, disputing forecasts made by UN agencies. He criticized renewable energy projects, including wind farms, and promoted the purchase of fossil fuels from the United States. Clashing views from the US and Brazilian leaders following Brazil's opening speech by President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, who emphasized the importance of multilateralism during turbulent times. Trump responded by criticizing Brazil's policies, even as he conveyed a brief moment of personal cordiality when he recounted an encounter with Lula, highlighting their agreement to meet again. In stark contrast to Lula's advocacy For cooperative global governance, Trump's rhetoric paints a picture of isolationism and distrust toward international institutions. These key moments from Trump's address raise critical questions. Is he reshaping U.S. foreign policy for better or worse? What impact will his approach have on international relations and America's standing on the world stage? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with Trump's stance? Or do you believe that cooperation and diplomacy should be prioritized over confrontational tactics? Share your opinions in the comments.